Mr. President, dear friends, tonight the European Council decided to grant the United Kingdom a flexible extension of the Article 50 period until the 31st of October. This means an additional 6 months for the UK. During this time, the course of action will be entirely in the UK's hands. It can still ratify the withdrawal agreement, in which case the extension will be terminated. It can also reconsider the whole Brexit strategy. That might lead to changes in the political declaration, but not in the withdrawal agreement. Until the end of this period, the UK will also have the possibility to revoke Article 50 and cancel Brexit altogether. The UK will continue its sincere cooperation as a full member state with all its rights and as a close friend and trusted ally in the future. Let me finish with a message to our British friends. This extension is as flexible as I expected and a little bit shorter than I expected, but it's still enough to find the best possible solution. Please do not waste this time. Thank you.
Thank you. And now President Juncker of the European Commission.
Oui, bonjour Donald, bonjour mesdames et messieurs. Nous avons eu une réunion, parfois difficile, mais toujours portée par le désir qui était le nôtre de trouver un accord entre les 27 et un accord avec le Royaume-Uni. Je voudrais, d'un point de vue institutionnel, vous dire que la Commission est tout à fait heureuse des résultats obtenus, puisque nous nous sommes mis d'accord sur le fait que de temps à autre, les 27 devraient pouvoir avoir des réunions à 27 sans nos amis britanniques pour préparer le futur cours des choses. On me dit souvent qu'il ne faudrait pas que nous introduisions une différence de statut entre les différents États membres de l'Union européenne, pas de différence entre un pays qui quitte et les autres pays qui veulent rester. Je voudrais dire ici qu'il y a un précédent pour traiter différemment les différents pays de l'Union européenne. Lorsque j'étais président du Conseil européen, en décembre 1997, j'ai proposé à mes collègues d'alors d'instituer l'Eurogroupe. Il y avait de fortes résistances, les Britanniques, les Danois, les Suédois, d'autres, mais nous l'avons fait parce que nous voulions que ceux qui doivent gérer d'une façon collective et solidaire la monnaie unique puissent parler entre eux en l'absence des autres, tout en veillant à la nécessaire cohérence des travaux du Conseil. Les ministres des Finances à l'époque, c'est ce que nous avons fait aujourd'hui. Nous avons appelé à nos amis britanniques le principe qu'une coopération loyale il devrait y avoir entre tous les États membres. Nous sommes convaincus que le Royaume-Uni respectera ses obligations. En juin, lorsque nous nous reverrons, nous ne renégocierons pas entre nous, ni avec le Royaume-Uni, l'accord intervenu il y a des mois, parce que l'accord de retrait, le withdrawal agreement, doit être respecté en entièreté. Nous ne voudrions pas qu'on ouvre l'accord de retrait, puisque cela mettrait en danger le backstop que nous avons négocié avec nos amis irlandais. Je tiens beaucoup à ce que l'Irlande garde l'impression que leurs soucis seront pris à bord par les autres membres de l'Union européenne. Il y aura donc probablement des élections européennes au Royaume-Uni, ce qui peut paraître curieux, mais les règles étant les règles, nous devons respecter la loi européenne. D'où cette lex, et nous verrons en octobre où nous serons. Je regrette un peu que nous ne discutons que du Brexit. J'ai lu les journaux européens ce matin, Brexit, mais que nous ayons obtenu, le président Tusk et moi-même, un accord auquel personne ne s'attendait avec la Chine, n'a trouvé que très peu d'écho dans la presse internationale, ce qui prouve aller. Oui, j'ai vu que le soir, évidemment, a rapporté en détail. Oui, c'est vrai.
I mean, they did. It's true.
Parce que le soir, tout de même,
after all,
rapporte bien les choses.
Le Soir
est la Neue Zürcher Zeitung, qui n'est pas un journal du territoire, sur le territoire européen. Bref, à part le Soir, personne n'a parlé de cet accord, à mes yeux, historique, ce qui prouve à l'évidence que nous sommes trop focalisés sur des affaires relevantes du Brexit et insuffisamment sur les autres affaires qui font le monde de demain. Donc je suis, content d'avoir trouvé un accord entre les 27 et il était essentiel de démontrer que les 27 restent sur une même ligne d'analyse et d'action et nous verrons en octobre ce qu'il en sera. Une réunion, mais trop longue réunion.
A meeting, too long a meeting.
Thank you. And the floor is now open for your questions. And I think the first question goes to Chris. Yes, the gentleman to our right.
Thank you, Brabin. It's Chris Morris from BBC. President Tusk, you said the extension was a little shorter than you expected. Isn't it, from your perspective, in some ways the worst of both worlds? Not short enough to really put on the pressure in the UK Parliament to get a deal passed quickly, but not long enough to allow you to set aside Brexit to focus on other things for any useful period of time. And secondly, as you know, Article 50 says nothing or doesn't rule out multiple extensions. Is there anything in the language agreed today which says October the 31st is the final deadline, or is it possible that come mid to late October we will once again be having a summit like this and working out how much longer we're going to extend again?
I think it's always better to have a piece of something than all of nothing, and which means that in 6 months, more than 6 months and almost 3 weeks, it could be enough for a good solution if there's goodwill and majority for some solutions in London, of course, and in the House of Commons. Generally, I'm satisfied because it's, as you know, not only today's discussion but also our preparations showed that this idea of flexible extension was not so obvious for some of our partners, and this is why I think we have to be maybe not happy but satisfied by this solution. Our intention is to finalize the whole process in October, but and the political intention was clear among the member states that our wish and our hope is that the UK will be ready with the final solution until the end of October. But I am too old to exclude another scenario. I think it's still everything is possible. And the second question was Jean-Claude, maybe.
A hard Brexit without a deal would be a total disaster. Everyone knows that. So we have to do everything to avoid a hard deal. That's what Donald and myself are trying to do. Till now we have been quite successful. I like the decision we have taken tonight because the end date has been fixed on the 31 of October. I have to leave my job on the 1st of November this year. So my guess would be that we will have not a night session because if we had, I have to leave the meeting at midnight.
Thank you. And I think, yes, the gentleman to our left was next. Jim.
Thank you. Good morning. Jim Brunsden from the Financial Times. If October is now the deadline, and if, as you have said, President Tusk, the course of affairs is now fully in the UK's hands between now and then, what is the point of this review that's been discussed for June? Why are we having this, and what can take place on that occasion if everything is now in London's hands?
It must be clear. This assessment or review in June is only to update us on the progress when it comes to ratification process and legal processes in the UK. This June is not for decisions about extension or and my intention is not to discuss, but only to inform the member states about the current situation. It's
in June, we are taking stock of what has happened from now to then. It's not a negotiation session. It's not another cliff edge we would insert in the normal program, as far as our programs are normal. They are not, but we don't have the intention to negotiate in June. The real moment, the vital moment of decision is October. In June we are taking stock, preparing the meeting we'll have later on in October.
Yeah, June is not a cliff edge or a moment to take new decisions. It must be clear.
Thank you, and we'll take one last question. Yes, the gentleman here in the middle.
Nikos Chrysoloras from Bloomberg News. Can I ask you to elaborate on paragraphs 7 and 8 of today's decision? What do you expect from the UK? What do you mean by sincere cooperation? Do you expect the UK to not participate, for example, in the votes for high-level appointments in June? What exactly is it that you expect? And the second question, if I may, given the differences today over the length of extension, would you insist that the EU unity of the 287 still holds, or did France go rogue today?
Sincere cooperation means sincere cooperation, and we have only good experiences with Theresa May's government when it comes to their loyalty to our rules and principles here in Brussels. And there's no any kind of intention to establish a new format for member state under Article 50, and of course the United Kingdom is and will remain during the whole process a full member of the European Union, no doubt, with all the obligations, but also with all the rights, and especially with voting rights, no doubts. But our intention was to have some, political guarantees and declarations that the UK will not use any kind of political blockings or tricks to be destructive or to stop our work, or to use this possibility as a political instrument to impose something. And I think I really trust what Theresa May declared today, and I have no doubts that this term, sincere cooperation, is treated seriously.
The reference to sincere cooperation is a reference to a basic principle of the treaties, which are governing our living together. And I trust Theresa May that the United Kingdom will not step away from the treaty obligation. They have to cooperate with the other member states in a sincere, loyal way. I know that in parts of Europe, sometimes in Britain too, There is this idea that Britain could block in the next coming years decisions of the European Union. We had heard voices coming from Britain that Britain wants to be a very difficult partner of the others. That's nothing new. The other point is that we should de-dramatize this issue, because the next big decisions we have to take, appointment of the President of the European Council, of the one of the European Commission, and others, can be dealt with qualified majority. Even trade treaties have to be dealt with and can be dealt with and must be dealt with, if necessary, by qualified majority voting. So the possibilities for Britain to block decisions are very, very limited. So I wanted just to add this to the remarks of the President.
And the second question on EU27 unity.
We are united enough to have a common conclusions, and this is unity doesn't mean that we are always, all 27 or 28 member states on the same or identical position. But unity in our case means that we are always able to find a compromise, and this was that case.
We'll have a Brexit with a deal. I would have preferred a deal without Brexit.
It's still much easier to build majority here, or even unity, than in the House of Commons, as you know.
I'm repeating myself by saying that the Sphinx is an open book by comparison to the British Parliament.
Thank you. This concludes the press conference. Good night.